Inside corner time. Let's rock. JP Morosi, good morning to you. Mondays are for information. I just made that up. I didn't realize Miguel Andújar, JP, had played only 90 games since his rookie season. There's frustration there, and there were reports that he requested a trade. This is not the first time, is it?
No, Lauren, and good morning. Hector Gomez, the first to report over the weekend that Miguel Andújar has, in fact, requested a trade. And this is going to be a very interesting situation to watch unfold for the New York Yankees because Andújar does have a lot of value to the organization there. He can hit, and it's just a matter now of how many at-bats are available to him. As you point out, Lauren, this has been an ongoing issue before. Ken Rosenthal reported on that. This was not the first time that he requested the trade. And you can tell right now the Yankees, while they love the depth that he brings and might want to, well, keep him in the minor leagues, the reality is he is a major league player. And there are a number of teams around the major leagues for whom he could make a pretty significant contribution right now. I would mention Seattle. They need some offense in the outfield. The White Sox, of course, they could probably use a bat too. And I think there's a lot of interest in the industry in Andújar. You did see, even though the numbers weren't necessarily great, Lauren, in the time he was called up this season, the exit velocity was good, the at-bat quality was good, and the potential is still there. So right now, not the role that he wants to have with the Yankees. Of course, sending him down to the minor leagues was a tough call. Aaron Boone acknowledged as much. But right now, a lot of teams out there that need offense, and there are certainly teams out there that need offense, are calling Brian Cashman, I believe, this week. It
will be interesting to see the interest end from where White Sox and Seattle, two teams you mentioned. Phillies had a weekend, didn't they? And Rob Thompson has been around long enough to know this game is not that easy, right? Tell us about the journey to get to this point, JP.
From the great city of Sarnia, Ontario, to the major leagues, Lauren, and certainly Rob Thompson's had a long career as a coach in the major leagues, long time with the Yankees, and then most recently with the Phillies on Joe Girardi's staff. But he's actually now the first Canadian-born manager permanently in the major leagues since the 1930s. This is huge news, certainly for baseball in Canada, and obviously for this staff here and this team. He's got a great demeanor about him. I've known Rob for a long time. A lot of people around the game have, too. He's someone who's very easy to root for because of the way he treats people around him, and I think the players will probably respond well to him here this week now. And we saw, of course, over the weekend, a very good weekend series for the Philadelphia Phillies. So I think it was just maybe time for a change. We know Joe Girardi, a great baseball person as well. Maybe just a different communication style, and Dave Dombrowski has acknowledged as much with Rob Thompson, but he was a minor league player. Rob was in the Tigers organization back in the 1980s. A long life in the game. He certainly has earned this, paid a lot of dues, and then some, tenfold over, to be able to get down to this point. So I think a lot of people around the game very curious to see how Rob is going to do in this role with the Phillies.
His Phillies handing the Angels their 11th straight loss over the weekend. JP, I was today years old when I realized Mad Bum is 32 years old. I feel like he's pitched in the big leagues for 80 years. He could help teams at the deadline, especially with the Diamondbacks dipping below 500.
You're right, Lauren. That's a great point about certainly how young he arrived. I go back to 2010 in the World Series. I believe he was 20 years old during that World Series, pitching there on the road in a huge outing there against the Texas Rangers. So I think right now, and of course, he's pitching today for the Diamondbacks, who, as you mentioned, have dipped below 500. We know how good that NL West is and how hard it's going to be for them to gain ground. So you start to wonder which teams could be a fit for Madison Bumgarner. Now, one team I would mention right away, the St. Louis Cardinals. I think that when you consider where their rotation is going long term, they're looking at what's going to be a very tight race with the Brewers during the course of this season, and certainly with Wainwright in the last year of his deal. We talked about the Cardinals last year as potentially being in the market for a starting pitcher. I would put Bumgarner in that same category for them right now. The issue, of course, is that he is under contract through 2024. So, and there is some significant money there. So you have to think about, will there be a team that's going to take him at the full value? The way he's pitched right now, Lauren, I think he may have a suitor who's willing to pay the full freight because of how well he has pitched this season. I think that's going to be the financial component for the Diamondbacks, and then, of course, what the team could offer in a trade. So I really think to pay very close attention now on the Cardinals. And you see what he's done. He's made some very significant improvements from last year to this year. A 3.31 ERA in that division with all of that talent on the offensive side of things, with the Padres, with the Dodgers, obviously the Giants, the reigning division champs. That's a tough tough division to navigate. I know that the ballparks are more pitcher-friendly, certainly, than what you would see in the American League East, but I think Bumgarner, what he's done this season, Lauren, he is very much on the radar for a lot of teams on the trade market right now.
Mad Bum, Wainwright, Yachting, Albert. I mean, it's just, imagine it is just too much. Trade deadline. Come in, JP. Get your tie ready. Hey, tough news for the Orioles. Grayson Rodriguez, the lat strain, more serious than we originally thought. Will it be this year or next year that we see him?
Well, Lauren, that's exactly right. And according to reports, it could be the full season. Now, the Orioles hopeful that he'll be able to maybe finish with at least some game action by the time the season is over. Maybe he comes back in September. But obviously, as we know, the minor league season doesn't necessarily go that deep into the fall. And so you start to wonder at what point in time could he actually come back and catch up on the innings that he's losing right now. It's just a tough bit of news because we've seen, of course, the arrival of Rutschman. That next generation of Orioles talent was on the way. And Rodriguez is one of the very best pitchers in minor league baseball, period, not just the Orioles farm system. So certainly a tough loss for the Orioles. He would otherwise probably be going to the Futures game in Los Angeles next month. Of course, he can't do that now. So again, the Orioles hoping that he might be able to finish with some game action in September. But because of the severity of the lat injury, Lauren, it's possible that Rodriguez has already thrown his last pitch of 2022.
Disappointing, but the future is bright, and it is certainly near. JP Morosi on the Monday Inside Corner. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks,
as always.
Lauren.